Alrighty guys, today we're going to look at the thesis statement, and I think you can probably say that the thesis statement is one of the most important aspects in a good paper. And I say that because this statement is going to give your paper direction. If your paper lacks direction, it will not be cohesive, it will not be organized, and it'll confuse your reader. And if you confuse your reader, you've not effectively communicated with them, thus they will be frustrated. And if I'm your reader, you don't want me frustrated. So we're going to look at thesis statements. I know you guys worked on them last year with Ms. Hodson and Ms. Cunningham. So this should just simply be a review. I just wanted to go over the steps very quickly so that you will know what is expected in a good thesis statement. So thesis statements are always going to have two things. They're always going to have a topic, whatever it is that you've been asked to write about, and then a debatable opinion. And when I say debatable opinion, I mean something that you have seen in the work that you are trying to convince your reader of. So I believe every essay is a form of an argument essay because you have an opinion about something that was in the book and you were trying to convince us that your opinion is that way. Now, when I also say that, that does not mean that you are talking about your own personal beliefs and whatnot. You are simply analyzing what Rand did or whatever the pieces that you're reading. But we'll do this with Anthem for now. Okay, so first you're going to have to deconstruct the prompt. Our prompt is going to be in Chapter 1 of the novella Anthem. How does the manipulation of language enforce the collectivist doctrine in the Society of Anthem? Alright, so we did that. So now we've got to determine the what have you been asked to write about, in our case, what's the author's purpose, and then the why. So here we know we're going to have to write about something about the manipulation of language in the collectivist society. Okay? We're going to be writing, that's what we're going to be writing about, so we've got to decide now the why comes in. Why do we think Rand chose to do that? Okay? You put the what and the why together into one nice long sentence, and there's a phrase here you can use, it's in order to, but you also have your tone packet. Remember all those verbs that I showed you to look at for literary analysis? This is another spot where you would be good to use that packet. I told you you'd be using that thing all year long. Alright, so we're going to move on to our writing prompt. I'm going to show you a chart that we will be using in class also to help you kind of get your thoughts in order. So we've already looked at the prompt and we've already talked about the author's purpose. So this is where my writing comes in. Through the character's dialect, particularly the absence of personal pronouns, so those are the I's, me's, we's, Rand demonstrates how the government forces their society members into conforming into their collective agenda. I didn't mean we. Rand's characters only know to speak. So I've got my what over here. So I know I'm going to say something about personal pronouns, the fact that they're lacking, and now I'm going to go over here to the why. This is what I think. Okay, but I never say I always talk about Rand because I'm writing about the author's purpose, not Miss Green's purpose. Rand's characters only know and speak in the collective first person plural pronouns we and our, illustrating the argument that an overly powerful government can coerce the masses into compliance. Alright, so I've got, what I do next is I decide, what out of here is important, what out of here is important. Let me show you what this does not look like. The government controls the people's language because they do not want the people to have any power. Okay, now first of all, this is just a poorly written sentence because you've got they here. Is they the people's language or is they the government? Yes, you read later on and you can infer that it's probably the government, but it's very, very vague, and that's not what we want. You want something very specific that you can be writing about in your essay. So what I did is I took the best parts from my what and the best parts from my why, and I combined them over here. Now, something else you want to notice is I didn't put any kind of reference here to the ours and we's in this one, but I do keep the idea that it's an overly powerful government, and I take this first part about the absence of personal pronouns. So, the character's dialect, particularly the absence of first-person singular pronouns, illustrates Rand's argument that an overly powerful government can coerce the masses into compliance. So I've got a what and I've got a why. Now typically we don't mention literary devices or grammatical devices in your essays, but for this particular assignment we're just looking at Chapter 1. It's short, it's a one-paragraph essay, so this would be fine. So anyways, that's pretty much how I put a thesis statement together, and I look forward to reading your thesis statements.